like to see if you could touch on some of the musical characteristics or idioms of live jazz. You know, we've talked about how to conduct yourself in live performance, but what are some of the things that people should look out for in a jazz performance?
You mean as far as the audience looking out for?
Yeah, so they can appreciate what a jazz artist is doing. Oh, that's a so-and-so. I see how difficult it normally would be, but this person is executing it flawlessly. That kind of thing, the musical aspects along with the technical. Not so much, you know, oh, well, here's a great trio.
Well, it helps a lot if the audience is knowledgeable on their own when they come in. And if you're in the audience and you know the people in the band and what they can do on their own, that's a lot of fun. I don't work so much from modes because I like to work from the melody, but they're all based on modes. But I'll, you know, of course, the major scale goes like. So the major scale is what we all sing Christmas carols with, you know. The blues scale, the so-called blues scale, basically grew out of the blues, the shouted blues, and where blues came from, you know, from the Delta on up to Kansas City and Chicago. And that was a flat 3 and a flat 7. So you, instead of, you would be playing. Of other scales and modes that people use, especially in contemporary jazz. I would say from the 70s on, a lot of the electronic music relies on almost a structure that's made entirely of modal scales. Chick Corea did a lot of that kind of thing, get away from the mainstream melody kind of thing and get into the total modal stuff. That kind of stuff. It's hard to play, I think, and it's exciting, almost like being a rock musician. It's more of a structure that you play within rather than a melody that you have that's going to inform your changes.
You're saying that you work off a melodic line, but within the confines of a blues scale, so to speak.
Well, and a lot of the American popular song had elements of the blues scale in it. We did a 6 weeks class over at the Jazz Workshop on some composers that they contributed to the American songbook from all the way back from the 20s. Composers that I taught a little course about was Harry Warren, and he wrote so that blue note is right there in that melody. Blue notes and those blue scales informed those guys that were writing for Tin Pan Alley and the movies. That song was written in the late 30s, early 40s. So it all is sort of put in together like you're making a big soup.
Some people have the notion that, especially contemporary jazz, there is some incorporation of the pentatonic scale.
I know that a lot of the pop music, especially the young pop singers now, the ones that are writing their own material all the time, almost entirely use the pentatonic scale. They don't write with chromatics like we used to. Music has a completely different character to it, and it seems very elementary to me, but that's just me. It's fine, except that there's a lot of other stuff out there too.
There's other ground, other turf. What's your favorite key, if you have one?
Oh dear. My favorite keys don't have anything to do with whether I can play in them or not, but I do like the way certain keys sound. The sound of D-flat. I like the sound of because it's part of the low part of the piano when you have a really good instrument like this. I don't like to play in B-flat because of the way it's situated on the keyboard, because the home bass in B-flat puts you kind of in this little area here where you're getting in and out of the black notes and the white notes. And again, some of the sharp keys, E major sounds really good. Because it's got that low. Standard tunes usually are written in what they call standard keys. The songs will be written in a key that's comfortable for a mid-range baritone male to sing. The real book is put out in keys for trumpet players to play and written in keys for women to sing, because women's voices, if they're going to be a jazz voice, tend to be about a fourth or fifth away from where a male voice would be. All the music that you pick up that was written in the 20s and 30s and 40s, music is written in, will be in a male key. If a jazz singer were singing, "This is somebody I wanted to see, I hope that he turns out to be," you might do it in that key that's kind of down there, so you could get a smoky sound, sort of. But a soprano that was singing it might go, you know, so, and that would be a key that a male would be comfortable in. Tenderly, the song Tenderly. For musicians, horn players and stuff, it's almost always played in E flat because of the transpositions of the horns. Kids that come to me say, teach me some licks. You can play a lick, but what you want to do is become a musician.